In today's video, we have some NHL free agency news to discuss. We have an arbitration ruling on Jacob Trouba. We have other signings including Matt Dumba as well as Brandon Tanev. We'll discuss all these deals coming up next. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. We review and discuss all 31 NHL teams. So if you're a huge hockey fan, consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you don't miss anything. So as I mentioned off the top here, we have some more signings to discuss. I fully intended on getting this video out yesterday, but we had a very frustrating day with a lot of technical difficulties. So I apologize for the delay in getting some of these videos out to you, but there will be several coming today to kind of get everything caught up here. So now jumping into the free agent signings, let's start off here with the Winnipeg Jets signing Brandon Tanev. Obviously, Tanev has agreed to terms on a one-year deal worth $1.15 million. Obviously, Tanev's completed about 2 seasons now with Winnipeg. It's been a fairly solid bottom six forward. I thought he was pretty impressive during the playoffs. So I think this is a pretty low-risk deal for the Winnipeg Jets here. Obviously, one-year deal, $1.15 million is not too bad for a bottom six forward. I think he was fairly effective. So overall, I can certainly agree with the signing here. Now, jumping over to the other Winnipeg Jets, the more prominent name here obviously is Jacob Trouba. As we reported before, Trouba and the Jets were having a lot of difficulty coming to an agreement. It ended up going through the arbitration process, and basically the arbitrator met them halfway here. Trouba was seeking $7 million, and the Jets were offering $4 million, which is a $3 million gap. The arbitrator basically met them exactly halfway here. Obviously, there was a $3 million gap. He came exactly $1.5 million above what the Jets were offering, $1.5 million below what the Trouba camp was looking for. So offering a one-year deal of $5.5 million. So obviously, this certainly brings more questions than answers, in my opinion. Obviously, Jacob Trouba's term here in Winnipeg has been kind of up and down here. Obviously, he's developing into a top, really solid top four defenseman. But at the same time, obviously, there's been talk before that he wanted to be traded. Then there was talk recently during the early part of this offseason he wanted to sign a long-term deal. But obviously, they had a really difficult time with the negotiations. With really, if the arbitrator met them halfway in the middle, you can't help but wonder here what kind of was the disconnect here that they couldn't come up with that on their own. I mean, obviously, general manager Kevin Cheveldayo's obviously playing hardball with them. At the same time, Trouba's camp is, greatly overvalued what he was worth here. So you can't help but wonder what's going on, and can they come to an agreement in the future on a long-term deal to keep Trouba with the Winnipeg Jets at a reasonable price tag. I mean, if you look at all of their other younger players that they have been able to lock up to longer-term deals, there was nothing like this at all. With this player and this team, the relationship's been a little bit rocky at times. And at times it seemed really good. So I was quite optimistic based on what both sides were saying heading into the early part of the offseason here, that they would figure out a longer-term solution. But that's not looking too promising. And completely honest here, I would not be surprised if sometime during this one-year deal we see Jacob Trouba being traded. Obviously, is that Winnipeg's best interest? You could argue that it is and it isn't, but different sides of the argument here. Obviously, they have a salary cap situation that they need to be aware of here over the next couple of years. They've got a lot of deals that are going to be either being redone or players coming out of their entry-level contracts. They're going to have a bit of a cap problem, and they're not going to be able to keep everyone. So maybe it's easiest to trade the player that they're having the most difficult time with when it comes to negotiation. So hard to say. That's just speculation on my part. But would not completely surprise me during this one-year term if he is moved. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think they'll more than likely would love to have him for the start of the year, and I'm sure they will make an attempt here when they're able to discuss an extension and see how things go before it ever comes to that. But we'll see here. Interesting times for Jacob Trouba and the Winnipeg Jets, but you can't help but wonder if that relationship has fractured here yet again. Now jumping over to the Minnesota Wild and Matt Dumba. Obviously, Dumba had a tremendous year last year, putting up 50 points. His point totals have increased for the past 3 seasons. He's still pretty young. He has a birthday here coming up this week, so he'll be turning 24 years of age. But obviously, his contract was a 5-year deal, $6 million. Personally, I think this is a pretty reasonable contract for Minnesota. They really need Dumba in their lineup. He's a very important player. He provides a lot of offense. He's a really solid guy back there. Eats up a lot of minutes. If you look around a lot of other contracts or other defensemen around the league, honestly, I think this could turn out to be a bargain deal in a couple of years. I've been saying all along here that I really don't think Matt Dumba has reached his full potential as of yet. I think he's, still has a little bit more of a ceiling to find here. I mean, obviously, increasing his totals 3 years in a row, hitting 50 points. Not sure that he'll go a whole lot higher, but I think his peak here hasn't quite happened. So I think, like I said, in another year or two, this contract was probably going to look pretty pretty reasonable, and at some point here could even be looked upon as a bargain. Now, last but not least here, the Vancouver Canucks have also signed defenseman Troy Stecher to a 2-year deal at $2.1 million per season. Obviously, Stecher completed his NCAA career, has a couple years now under his belt with Vancouver. Certainly not the most offensive defenseman by any means, but certainly, reasonably effective back there. So I'd be curious to hear from Canuck fans, what do you think of this contract? Do you think it's fair? Obviously, it's fairly, short term, not too much money, so there's not a lot of risk here involved. So overall, I think the contract for Stecher is relatively reasonable. Now, if you're new to the channel here, I hope you consider subscribing. We cover all 31 NHL teams, and there's plenty of content here for all hockey fans to enjoy. So if you're new, hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button as well. I'd appreciate it if you did. As always, thank you very much for watching, everybody. We will catch you next time.